Fear stops us from achieving our true greatness. Are you a professional woman who is feeling stuck, unmotivated, or burned out? Are you worried about your wellness? Are you letting fear stop you from crushing your goals? If you answered yes to any or all of these, then this is the podcast for you. Dr. Charmaine Gregory, night shift emergency physician, burnout thriver, and wellness champion, along with everyday heroes just like you, will explore how to face fear in our lives and emerge victoriously.
Hello, Fearless Freedom family. We are so honored to have Dr. Sharon McLaughlin, plastic surgeon, entrepreneur extraordinaire, with us today. Dr. McLaughlin, can you tell the Fearless Freedom family who you are and what you are up to?
Absolutely. And I'm so happy to be here. I have to preface this first because just watching you is such an inspiration. Your workouts, I love to see them every day. I love that you're doing this podcast. You've stepped out of the box. Who am I? I am a board certified plastic surgeon. I gave up my practice a few years back and I decided to do non-clinical. I still have a very small practice as far as doing like injectables and whatnot, but it's small. I think that this has been a really great move for me because it allows me to do my creativity. And I just enjoy that so much. And I think that when I was a doctor, it was a lot of rules and that's great. And it was a lot of years of training and I still use my MD, but I think there's so much more that we could be doing and really impacting lives of others. And, rather than just one-on-one, we could hit them with groups, and our message will be heard by many more. So my interests lie in helping women actually start businesses. And also I have a fond interest in green living. I'm a cancer survivor. It's actually why I wanted to go into medical, went into medicine and why I went to medical school. But I had non-Hodgkin's lymphoma when I was younger. And I honestly think like all the chemicals that we're exposed to, it's just, there's safer ways, there's safer alternatives. And if I can get the word out about that, then really that's my mission.
Wow. Awesome. So I hear quite a lot of things that can be affected by fear, surrounding fear, fears that had to be overcome in order to accomplish them. Do you want to talk a little bit more about the experience that you had when you had non-Hodgkin's and how that allowed for you to be inspired to want to make a difference as a physician?
No, absolutely. But I do want to talk about leaving medicine as well, because I want your audience to hear that and just stepping out of the box. But as far as me having cancer, I was young. I really didn't know anything else. I just know that, yes, I was afraid of dying. I know that I had become close friends with people that unfortunately they died when I was being treated. You come in, I was being treated at Sloan Kettering and you didn't see someone for a couple of weeks and you would ask one of the physicians, how's so-and-so doing? And, they would just give you that sorrowful look. So that was hard. I think just overall fear of dying. But it helped in some ways because I think it made my life more fruitful. I appreciated what I had. And I kind of, to this day, I think that, I have a sister that works in hospice. She's a hospice nurse. But, it's easy to complain, oh, this is going on or that's going on. And whenever I speak to her, she's always like, so did I tell you about that 30-year-old with metastatic melanoma? And it really puts things in perspective.
Oh, yes.
For whenever there's a downside in life, there's upsides too, because you just look at things in a different way and it makes you appreciate. And that gratitude, people talk about gratitude. But it's really true. If we appreciated everything, like if we woke up in the morning and appreciated just being alive, I think our lives would, that day would go by differently because we are so lucky to wake up. We are so lucky to have health. We may not have as much money as we want or things that we want in life, but without health, you have nothing at all.
That is so true.
Yeah.
So true. Wow. Yeah, that is definitely a huge perspective issue. I I couldn't have said that any better. That's so much, so true and so applicable. And I do wish more of us thought that way, because our mindsets and how we approach life would be so much different and we'd be so much happier.
It's true.
What we have.
Yeah, I definitely don't appreciate every day. That's why it helps to speak to my sister one day, who will like realign me, be like, what are you talking about? You be thankful. And it's true. You need that. You need someone in your life like that. Find your tribe and be grateful for what you have.
Definitely. So speaking of tribes, you have found your tribe and created a wonderful tribe for other women who are physicians who are also interested in entrepreneurial pursuits. Do you want to talk about that?
Absolutely. Yeah, I found myself a few years back, not really, I kind of felt like I was the only one. I had, I still have my husband, but he really is not into doing like side gigs or entrepreneurship. He likes his shift, come home, and that's it, and not deal. He likes stocks, which I guess you could say is a side gig. But other than that, not too much,
Okay.
So, and then my friends, they're all full-timers in medicine, and they really weren't interested in doing anything different. And I was like, I've always been interested in entrepreneurship, even in medical school, truthfully. So I was like, these Facebook groups are great. Maybe I can find some people that are interested in entrepreneurship. And I'm a female physician. I wanted to do this for female physicians because I know what I was kind of experienced, or at least what I perceived that I was experienced, that, you're supposed to do medicine because that's what you went to school for, but that's it, and really not do anything else. So I felt like there were some barriers there, and I felt like I had to explain a lot, even to my husband and family, so I wanted to create a space that women could learn and they could be supported. And I never wanted to monetize the group from day one, because I kind of feel like female physicians have kind of gotten shortchanged anyway, somewhere along the line. Now, again, that may not be true, but this is how I see it. So I really wanted to create a space where women could learn and really create that support. Without support, it's so hard just to do this by yourself. And
Absolutely.
The other thing is, sorry, Sharon.
No, you're right. I'm just saying, agreeing with you.
Yeah. And also, if we all shared ideas, that we would grow so much faster together, because you can't do this by yourself. You need someone with experience, and maybe people in the group don't have the experience in this or that, but then someone else does, So that was the whole purpose of starting the group. And I think that, we were always growing, and, I do get messages, thank you so much for doing this. And that's really the bottom line. I wanted to do it for others. So, yeah.
Well, I thank you for it, because I have to say that I have definitely benefited greatly from the group. I hope that I am able to give something back to the group every once in a while. It may not be as regularly as I would like. But I greatly appreciate the space and the effort that you put into it, and just the ability for there to be collaboration, which I think is paramount when you're dealing with, people who have busy lives to start off with, and then they are venturing out essentially outside the box of medicine to do entrepreneurial pursuits. So thank you, Sharon. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Connections are key. They really are. Networking is key,
Absolutely. So how would you like to talk about the reason why you left medicine and the fear surrounding that?
Yeah, I was burnt. I said to myself, I remember when I decided to do it, I was okay going along, and then my dad got sick. And we were really close. And honestly, he lived a full life. He died when he was 87.
Okay.
But he was older when he had me. Nonetheless, I remember wanting to take off time, and I couldn't. I just kept on getting phone calls, and you need to do this and you need to do that. And it really got me thinking, I was just like, could I do this? Is this worth this? That I'm not going to be around much when he when he died, and I wanted to be there. And believe I changed things then, that I wanted to be there and I was going to be there, but it really got me thinking. I'm like, you give so much to others, but I felt so burnt out myself. And I felt burnt out. It wasn't just the career. I felt burnt out in my marriage. I felt burnt out as a mother, because I just felt that, I gave everything that I could possibly give. And in the end, I felt like I was doing a half-assed job and I wasn't making anybody happy. And I certainly wasn't happy myself. So then I started looking into other careers and what else I could do with medicine, this MD degree, because I'd worked very hard for it. And I remember also, my spouse as well as my family both kind of being like, what are you doing? This is crazy. You work so hard for this. I don't understand. And I was like, geez, I felt so burned out as it was.
Mm-hmm.
And I also felt like, why do I even have to explain this to anybody? This is my life. Like, and then maybe it's a selfish way to look at things, but I was like, geez, as long as I'm bringing in cash and money to help pay bills, why do I have to owe an explanation to anybody? Because it truly is our own life. We get to live it as we want. Isn't hurting anybody. You're not out there hurting anyone. That's a different story, breaking rules, doing things illegal.
Right.
So that's how I looked at things. And I felt really alone, very lonely at the time, to be honest with you. And that was fearful because I knew that I wanted to go in another direction. And I had to convince people that this was an okay thing to do. Yeah.
Wow. And so in your exploration at the time, so you're dealing with the fear of not getting the support from those that are close to you, your usual support system. And then you're dealing with the fear of what colleagues are going to essentially say about you. Like, how can you walk away from something that you have pledged, all these years? Because for plastic surgery, what is that? 7 or 8 years, right? Is
Correct.
that 8 years or is it more?
I did 7. I did 5 years general surgery, 2 years plastics.
So 7 years. And that's a huge time commitment. So people are like, what is going on? Like, how are you able to do this? And so you're dealing with fear of, the backlash on all fronts, including those that are closest to you in your immediate sphere of support. Where did you find the courage, or how did you essentially deal with it? Like, so you mentioned that you felt like the thought process that you were engaging in was one that was selfish, but I would argue that it was not one that was selfish. It was probably more one that was wise and self-preserving, which is essential in order for you to recognize that you need to do something drastic to fill your cup back up. Because if you're having burnout in the thing that you trained so long and hard for, and you're having burnout in your role as a mom, in your role as a wife, then that cup is dangerously empty. And so, it took a lot of bravery to do what you did. Where did you get the wherewithal to do that?
I think just within myself, Dr. Charmaine. Because I'm not sure where else it came from. I speak to some women in the group, they may be, or I come across people, they may be medical students and they don't want to finish. And I reach out, I'm like, you really should finish. You should get that degree. You should finish that residency. Regardless of whether you use it or not, there's going to be more opportunities for you. And they will say to me, I am suicidal. I cannot finish. Like if I finish, I'm going to be suicidal.
Wow.
And I never felt that way, to be honest with you. I never felt like, there was never any suicidal ideation. But I did feel like I couldn't go on. Like I knew that this was a different path. So to answer your question, it was within myself. This is what I want. This is what I need. And this is what I'm going to do. And I guess it was that feeling of, it truly is my life to choose how I'm going to live it. So Does that help at all?
That does, because that speaks to your intrinsic resilience is the term that people use for it. But it's like the internal grit, the internal ability to overcome adversity. So you were in a very unique place because you recognized where you stood as far as the burnout continuum. And you basically knew within yourself that you had to make a decision in order to stop the train from heading toward, the crash zone. And you did it, which, I commend you greatly for it, because that is not a space that very many people are in. Because number one, they may not necessarily realize that they're in that situation. And then number two, they may not have the internal grit, that intrinsic resilience enough to make a bold and brave move like you did. So hats off, Dr. McLaughlin. You did something pretty awesome.
Right. That's a, I mean, everybody should be able to have that internal grit, though. You know, if you don't have it for your own self, your own body, then who else would have it for you? You know, everyone should have that. Don't you think? Sure.
I agree, but I do believe that there is some element of feeding that and bolstering that. So sounds like you had it without even training yourself in that way. So what I mean when I say training, things like listening to mindset related, items like podcasts, or reading mindset related books, or just surrounding yourself with things that are going to give you a positive mindset and build your internal resilience. So, you had that without even doing any of that extra stuff, which not everybody does. But I agree. We have an element of it. Some of us have a lot, which it sounds like you did, but some of us don't have a very little and have to cultivate it. So it's just, it's commendable that you were able to kind of pull yourself out of that situation without having to have external input.
It didn't happen overnight. It took a while, in the course of a couple of years, really. It wasn't until I was making money and happy myself again that others around me. And to tell you the truth, I told my sister recently, but it's been years. I have a few sisters, but I remember one in particular, like, why? I just told her recently, I was like, you really hurt back then, because when I needed you most, when I needed you to understand what I was doing, I didn't want to explain anything. There was no explanations needed.
Wow. And what was her response?
I didn't know. I didn't know. I just didn't understand why you were doing this.
Gotcha.
But I said, it's okay that you didn't understand.
Gotcha.
It's not your life, right?
Right. Yeah. It's, you speak to so many things, and there's so many layers to this, because, that what you just said, her response was, I didn't know. That is very common for the people that are surrounding you who are not in the situation and cannot relate to the situation, because from the outside looking in, it's as though your life is wonderful, right? Because you have a career where you make a difference every single day. It is a career that, can be lucrative. It is a career that is looked upon in a very positive light by society. And so it is unbelievable for most people to understand why one would, sacrifice the majority of their 20s and sometimes into the 30s, training and getting to the position where they can practice this wonderful career, and then, feel so empty inside and so lost, have lost joy so much to the point where, they contemplate or actually walk away. So, her response is pretty candid, it sounds like. And, it's just people just don't know. They don't understand. And it's not their fault, because this is not something that we talk about on a global scale. And, it's not, there's no ad campaign to talk about, physician satisfaction and all of the perils of there not being good satisfaction and joy in work. So yeah, it's not her fault. But I'm glad that you were able to circle back with her and really tell her how you felt, because I think that's something that is so important, that there is a completion of that circle, because that's a part of you that was hurt. And it's so important for you to have told her that, and for her to know that, so that she could, understand that she hurt you. So so I'm glad that you guys were able to have that conversation. That's huge. So how is your relationship with that sister currently?
Everything's good, both with my husband, with my child. I feel good. I feel like I'm
Awesome.
a good enough mom now.
Awesome. Well, you were awesome mom before. Come on.
You always worry though, seriously, you always worry. You're like, oh, am I going to mess up this kid? I don't know. I know I'm not the only mom that feels that way because
I
I've
think we
heard
all feel that way at some point or another, whether it be day one or day whatever 1,000 number. Oh, wow. Wow. Okay. All right. And so now, so we talked about your transition, your impetus for medicine. We talked about your transition from being a clinical doctor to utilizing your degree in other means. Do you want to? And we talked about your current cultivation of and support of female physician entrepreneurs. Do you want to talk about what you're currently up to in your entrepreneurial pursuits?
Sure. This is always fear because I'm always afraid that I'm not going to succeed. But, I have a full-time job, which helps so much because that brings in the bread and butter, and then
Nice.
everything I do elsewhere outside of that is, just extra. However, because of the full-time job, it takes a lot of time and energy from my creativity. But that's okay. It's a choice, right?
Right. Right.
So yeah, I have the Green Living program. I have the website goinggreenmd.com where I do some blogging, not as much as I want, but I have that. I have a course on living green, like how, some important studies that I think, not that I think that have really swayed me as far as living a different lifestyle. And then I go kind of room to room as far as talking about different chemicals that we may be exposed to and, substitutes for those.
Okay.
And then what I'll be doing next is going on a different platform to do my website. And then from there, actually doing courses as far as for people that don't have a website, step by step, how you can create your own website, how you can kind of customize it to the way you want. So I'm looking forward to that platform. It has, webinars on it and like chat boxes with Facebook. So for the entrepreneur, I think it's a great platform to kind of be on, and they have courses too. Like right now I'm on WordPress, I'm on Teachable.
Okay.
I kind of feel like I'm all over the place. I'm on Active Campaign. This platform has an autoresponder. So
Okay.
this will put it all under one roof.
Oh,
So,
excellent. Excellent.
yeah. Looking forward to that.
That sounds very exciting. So so I'm kind of hearing two arms then. I'm hearing
Yes.
the Green Living arm, which is educational, and are there products associated with that one or no?
I work with Young Living. There are products associated with it, and I also do like affiliate links to Amazon. So there
Okay.
definitely are some, and I sell Ever as well as skincare because I like it a lot, and they're also they watch their ingredients that they put into their products. So yes, there's products involved. But as far as the business aspect, I don't know. I think it goes into that entrepreneurial again. I like helping people, and I feel like it's okay to have that 9-to-5 job. But if they want something more, or if they're a stay-at-home mom and they want something more, that they should be able to get it. And it shouldn't cost a fortune, and you shouldn't have to pay for, this. It should just be an easier way. The platform that I'm on, I think it's pretty reasonably priced, and it's good for people starting off. So
Okay.
yeah, it's a matter of
So that's
helping.
the consulting arm. That's
Correct.
the consulting arm. Okay.
Yeah.
So you have the educational / product suggestion arm, and
Mhm.
then you have the consulting arm, which is so your avatar that you're reaching out to are women who are interested in entrepreneurial pursuits, but giving them like an easy and affordable way in order to get started. Is that a good
Yeah.
summary? Okay,
Yeah,
got it.
absolutely. And I think it's really hard, those first few steps. And I'll be honest with you, people have said to me, you can't do both at one time. You shouldn't do that. But I don't know what to say. I think
You
living
can do both. You
it's
can totally
important.
do both.
Right? I know that's how I feel. Okay, once again, that's how I feel. I'm like, okay, so maybe I'll divide like 20% on this and 80% on that, but I'm definitely going to do both. I don't know what else to say because both are
Right.
important to me,
And you should, and if those are your passions, that's what you should pursue.
That's
Because you
correct.
know what? The fact that you are passionate about it tells me that your why is strong. And if your why is strong, then it will, you basically be able to withstand any storm and you'll be successful. So I have no doubt that it'll be fine.
Yeah, thank you. And I'm looking forward to watching you in your pursuits.
Oh, goodness.
Oh, wow, it's so true. You inspire everybody.
Oh, thank you. Well, I'm glad. Oh, my goodness. Wow. Now you got me blushing. All right. Is there anything else that you're up to that you'd like to share? Any pearls of wisdom that you've learned in facing your fears over the years, in these different areas that you feel like, you want to tell people
Well,
who are listening?
I think everyone has heard it again, all your listenings, but the bottom line is it's your life to live. Choose it that it's going to work out for you. What's important for you? Follow your heart. Because if you're not I hate to say standing up for yourself, but if you're not doing what's good for you, how could you expect people around you to do what's good for you? You can't get upset at people around you for not helping you when you're not helping yourself.
Wow.
Does that sound fair?
Oh no,
Or,
that's so
or
fair. That's like tough love and like
no, but
encouragement at the same time.
but that's how I work. I have to be honest with you. When I was
Oh
a
my
chief resident, they're like,
goodness.
wow.
Well, yes, you messed up, but guess what? The good news is that you didn't die, so you can just get right back up and get back in it.
But it's so true though, right? Because there's so many people that are stagnant. They don't try. I don't know why they don't try. That's because that was never an option for me. You know what I mean? You try.
Gotcha.
That's how you're going to get somewhere. You have to at least try.
Right,
And
right.
even if you fail, you always learn something, always.
Oh,
So
every
true.
single time. Every single time. Oh my gosh. No, that's great. That is great. That's a great segue into our fill in the blank. So our on the show, we have a tradition, and that tradition is that we round out the conversation with a fill in the blank, and we ask 3 questions. The
Okay.
first sentence is, I guess they're not questions, there's fill in the blank sentences. So the first sentence to complete is, to me, fearless freedom means.
Just growing, being yourself, and stepping out of the box.
Awesome. And then, if I am fearless, I will
Do what means a lot to me. Do what's important to me.
Okay. And then last but not least, my battle cry is,
You need to grow.
you need to
Grow.
grow.
Because if you're not growing, you're not learning. And I mean that in so many ways. It's learning. It's you. If you don't grow, you're stagnant, and you don't want to just stay there. What is life then? Life gives so many opportunities. If you're going to make the most of it, then you need to grow.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dr. McLaughlin, for taking
Thank
time out of
you.
your day and spending time with us in the Fearless Freedom family. We are so encouraged by your conversation, by all the things that you've been through, all the things that you have ahead of you are so inspiring. And yeah, we're going to be keeping an eye. So in the show notes, I will definitely put the website. Is there anything else that you'd like me to add?
No, just enjoy your life. I mean that sincerely, right? It's
Yes,
be
yes,
grateful and enjoy.
indeed. Thank you for joining us today on this journey. Fear is all around us. It strives to stop us from achieving our greatness. We have the tools to be overcomers. By sharing our stories, supporting each other, and doing self-reflection, we can do this. If you found value in this conversation today, please be sure to subscribe to and share this podcast with your friends. By going to your favorite podcast platform, leaving a review and a 5-star rating, you will help to get the word out about it. And that is much appreciated. Thanks again for spending time with us. I appreciate your time and your attention. It is my hope that you will punch fear in the face today and that you will be strong, be brave, and unleash your greatness.